Hi guys, welcome back to another week of Art Life. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about a big topic, which is artist relationships with galleries. So if this is something you'd be interested in, I think you'll find this episode quite helpful. So at whatever stage you are in as an artist, if you're watching this and you aren't an artist, but you're just really interested in getting to know a little bit more about the art world, then I thought talking about galleries would be a really good subject to kind of tackle today. A really quick refresh to why I'm an authority on this subject. I'm not just talking nonsense. I have been an artist for 15 years. I have worked with galleries, been represented by a gallery, so I can tell you all about the contract and nitty-gritty side of what it means practically to be represented by a gallery. I've run a gallery in London. I spent a few years running a Carpenter's Wharf space on the River Lee in East London before lockdown. So I feel like I can offer, as an artist perspective, also a gallerist trying to sell artwork perspective, I kind of have a general understanding which I'd like to share with you today. Okay, so the question you're probably thinking at the moment as an artist is that you feel like you could improve your work, because as an artist, we always want to improve our work. If you're thinking about creating a sustainable practice to yourself, maybe you're struggling with imposter syndrome this week, or you're part-time and you want to go full-time, feeling like the art world is unregulated and unnavigable for an artist is a really common feeling. I think we can feel with our work as well, with putting ourselves out there with our painting or our sculpture, our drawings, and we kind of want to get out into the world more. Selling it ourselves can sometimes feel really daunting and draining. If you're doing all of the admin, all of the management, all of the promotion, and all of the making, that is a lot to juggle for you as an artist. So if this is something you've been thinking about for a while, let's talk and break down why a gallery might be the next step of your natural progression of your art practice. So the art world is made up of many different aspects. You have your galleries, your collectors, your patrons, the artists, of course, the critics, the charities. There's a feeling of an art ladder, like every element of your career feels like you're kind of going up a few rungs of the ladder, and then maybe you feel like you come down a bit and you have an unsuccessful patch and then you're really successful. Your career is meant to go up and down. It's not meant to be in a trajectory of, success is up here and you're here and you have to get there. You have to see your art practice as something sustainable, something lifelong. It mainly needs to nurture you. Yes, it might need to pay the bills as well, which is why conversations like this, getting into the nitty-gritty, can be a bit more helpful. But the first thing I want to say is it's about authenticity and you feeling like your relationship with your art won't suffer from having to think about all of these practical things like money and copyright, and when you bring other people into your business, your private work, it becomes public and it becomes under something that's not your own, which can be quite intimidating. So let's talk about the pros and cons of having a gallery. So the pros, and there are a lot of pros. The main thing that we'll talk about is validation. When you're represented by a gallery, you have their validation. Their business is supporting and validating and backing you as an artist. You'll have credibility because of this. It means that your work might be recognized by a different audience who can trust that in buying your work, they're investing in your work and your career. Galleries will also help you with the business and development side of your practice. They'll take your work to art fairs. There's a big art fair in London going on at the moment. Galleries will be taking a number of artists' work there. Artists can't go to art fairs and represent themselves. Galleries do that. It can help build trust in your work. It will be about increasing sales and creating a sustainable way to sell your artwork regularly. A lot more exposure as well. Remember, it's about sharing an audience. Galleries have different audiences. A lot of people who buy artwork are looking at the forums of galleries rather than finding artists themselves, because some art collectors and art buyers, it's quite overwhelming to look on social media and hunt for an artist. The best way to find artists like that is go to the galleries, go to the art magazines. The other sides of the art world is often how we connect buyers to artists. A kind of negative side, it's really important to know that there are negative sides of working with a gallery. I had a very negative experience quite early on in my career with a gallery where I think I was too young to have a gallery. I didn't fully understand the commission side of it, the insurance side of selling your work. Some galleries will take 50% commission, so you have to be aware of that in your sales, which can put your prices up for your art. Now, it's only about selling up. You can never sell down. You can't sell your artwork for £1,000 and then decide next year to sell the same artwork or something similar for £500, because the person who bought your work for £1,000 will be very angry, quite rightly so. It's about the investiture of your painting or your sculpture. Selling your art with a gallery, it means that your work will have a blanket price, which includes commission, which might double with the 50% commission. And then your work will be at a certain price up here, and it'll only go higher, which then might isolate a group of people from being able to afford your work unless it's in print. So it creates a kind of relationship with investment with your work. You also have to think, a gallery needs stock. Do you have enough stock as an artist? Are you making a high enough production of your work? If they are doing an exhibition and need at least 6 paintings or drawings or whatever your medium is, can you provide that? Do you have the time and the kind of stock to give them? Because they are a business, they are seeing your paintings as stock. Sometimes it's not personal, it is just about the practicalities of selling. Can you be consistent? You don't want to, if you're very explorative in your practice and you want to do lots of different things, I don't think a gallery would be good for you, because I think it's about doing one thing well in a big way. And a gallery will help you nurture your practice over time, but you can't be giving a gallery different things all the time. They need to trust that you have a brand and what you're making you can make consistently. So how you do this is building your portfolio, your CV, your website, photograph your work impeccably with high definition, high quality images. You basically want to create a visual online presence of your work it doesn't need to be well labeled. All the information needs to be on there. On your website, you need to let artists, you need to let buyers know it is for sale. People don't want to be scouring your website, hunting for prices. It needs to be really transparent. This is your work. This is the medium, this is how much it costs. If you want to buy it, this is how you do it. Galleries really appreciate a kind of clear, open way of selling your work. And it isn't a dirty thing to sell your work. I used to be horrified by putting prices on my paintings and embarrassed or feeling like I'm worth nothing, it should all be free. It can feel uncomfortable. If you find that this is often how you feel, a gallery will be great for you, because other people will be in the business of sharing your work, of promoting your work, of selling your work. You don't have to do that. That's one of the benefits of having a gallery. So maybe you are ready for a gallery. Have you researched your gallery? The research is the key thing. Go onto their websites, go onto their forums, look at their newsletter, look at their social media. Look at their past exhibitions. Would your work fit in with one of those shows? Can you see your style of painting or drawing as being part of their brand too? Because they're in having you as one of their artists, you become part of that gallery family. So make sure that you're finding a gallery, not just because this is a really successful gallery, but is your work to the taste? I make the mistake of sometimes submitting my paintings to competitions for very abstract, weird art, just to see if it would get in. And it doesn't. I don't feel bad, because I'm like, well, why did that? It was just a kind of experiment. But I know that my work is very different to all the other artists that they're showing. And maybe my work isn't what they're looking for. Don't get offended if galleries say that you're not what they're looking for. You have a gallery out there, you have an audience. Everybody's artwork has an audience, you just have to find yours. So that's where research gets key. If you're in the vicinity of like a city where there are lots of galleries, lots of private views, lots of shows, start going to the openings of their events, start talking to the team. If you have a newsletter, you can start looping them into your subscribe list. Let them know that you have momentum. So an up-to-date CV and lots of momentum, things coming up in your diary as an artist, is so important. A gallery needs to see that you have passion for your work, that it is what fuels you, what sustains you. Are you doing open studios? Are you doing any residencies? Like me at the moment, I'm doing a residency. I did some lessons yesterday. It's winter, it's cold, there's not much to do. Still keep working, still keep posting. Artists, I think, sometimes fall into the fear of needing everything to be almost so removed, so like pristine with their artwork, that they stop having fun playing around with like trying to show their audience maybe a more secret part of their practice. You just want to show your best bits. And a gallery doesn't need to see your best bits. Often galleries will come to your studio to talk to you as an artist if they're kind of thinking about working with you. Show them your actual studio. Don't tidy it up for them. Let them see you making chaos, how your brain works. They want to get to know you as an artist. And also it's about building trust and relationships. So there are lots of pros and cons to working with a gallery. So we've talked a little bit about how you could expand your audience with a gallery and feel like they put their trust in you and credibility. Also, you lose some autonomy. You can't sell with anyone but that gallery. And remember, they've got a lot of artists that they'll also be showing. If they're only showing your work once or twice a year, you might lose that monthly income you get from selling a little piece of your work here and there. So also, it is a limited way of being flexible. Some galleries also let you show outside their city. I had a gallery in Cambridge that wouldn't let me show in Cambridge, but I could show in London because it was more than 15 miles away from the gallery. I'd also have to exclusively show my work with that gallery at art fairs only, and they would have different group shows that if they thought my work would work well in, my work would go in. If it didn't work that year, they weren't really selling many of that style, I might have... It's a long kind of waiting game as well to their shows. So you might be like, this is everything for me. And a gallery's like, yeah, but you're one of 50 artists we're working with. You've got to kind of consider that as well. Maybe you'd want a smaller gallery that only work with a few select artists. It's kind of what relationship you're hopeful for. When I had a gallery, I also took my paintings to art fairs that they were doing in Stockholm, in New York. The work was traveling. This is when I say that I was young and inexperienced, just leaving London. They wanted the work so fast and I was painting so big that some of it was almost wet when it was being delivered, which is a massive no-no. And in the bubble wrap protective layers to get it to sort of New York or Stockholm, there was bubble mark indentations in one of the corner of their paintings. This gorgeous massive painting got there. The prime spot of the exhibition was meant to be this beautiful painting, and they couldn't show it because it had been damaged in transit. And that was my responsibility as an artist. I should have made sure that it was all impeccably done, completely dry. But it wasn't, and that was me learning. So that disappointed the relationship with the gallery. Luckily, we kind of got past it and it never happened again. But things like this you have to consider. It's their business, and as well, it's not just about you as the artist, it's about building trust. So the plan for success. I'd say your to-do list now needs to be about figuring out your strategy. So you need a piece of paper and you need to write on it your short-term goals. And in that, you can have one or two things of, I need to make a body of work, I need to update my CV, I need to refresh my website, take more photos of everything in good lighting without shadow, price everything, make it just clear who I am as an artist, as if you're getting everything ship-shape to show a gallery as a portfolio. Long-term goals, you also need to say, what are your long-term goals for your practice? Do you just want to be a part-time artist, doing it where you can, having it as a hobby? Do you want to have it as a full-time income? Are you looking to share your artwork with wider audiences? Do you want a gallery? Do you want to think about all these long-term goals? If anything's possible, your ultimate dream, write it down, have it on a piece of paper, you're looking at it, and let's figure out a route to get you there. Big tip time. So you've got your short-term and your long-term goals. A really good thing when you're on your journey as an artist is to realize that it's not about the destination, it's the journey. Enjoy this process. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it for income, or are you doing it because you love it? It's so important to protect your studio time, because you feeling happy in your practice is the core of your whole life as an artist. If you're dissatisfied with how you're working, it will come across in the work. It will also come across in the kind of disillusioned feeling with relationships with galleries where you're not enjoying yourself. You want to be having fun with this. Are there hidden costs? So if you're applying for competitions, bursaries, shows, are there hidden costs within that? Make sure you budget that within your practice. There's always a cost to grow your profile sometimes if you need help and collaboration. So are there any collaborative things you could do which would help grow your audience organically, piggybacking other audiences with collaborators? YouTube's a great platform for that. Also, showing your work in cafes. It doesn't have to be big galleries. Maybe approach some small cafes with some of your works, put them on the wall just to grow your local audience. It's just about doing things. Choose to do what you're doing well. It's better to have 5 great paintings and 1 kind of showstopper piece and maybe 5 drawings. That's a body of work, rather than 50 drawings and 16 paintings that are all a bit sloppy. It's better to hone it down to exactly what you want to show as an artist to a gallery when you present that portfolio to them. So you've done your research, you've got your website looking shipshape, you know which gallery you want to approach. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a list of information, which all of this is written down as well. If the gallery want to work with you, they'll start talking about contracts. This is terms of consignment, which is also talking about your commitments to the gallery, what you need to do with copyright of the image that once you give it to the gallery, where does consignment kind of sit within that, the commission of the gallery. Okay, so that's a lot of information just touching on relationships with galleries and artists. Below this video, I will be putting a lot more information about this kind of broken down if you're interested particularly in the kind of contract lawyery side of contracts and consignment forms with galleries, or you might be interested in, is this something, how do you go about approaching them with your portfolio and your CV? Like we said, you just start attending their events, you start linking all of their information, make sure you're up to date with it, what they're doing, go to as many of their exhibitions and events as possible. Also, you can write to them and send them your portfolio, or go in and request just a meeting with one of the team. Artists are not, it's so hard to put yourself out there, but always be a bit brave and just feel open about talking to a potential gallery about wanting to be represented by them, because there's no shame in that. It's part of the business. Don't feel like if they say no, they're rejecting you. It's just who they are as a gallery will be reflected in their work, and if your work fits with that, they'll welcome you into the gallery family. But if they don't, there is another gallery out there for you if that's something you want. Just make sure you have your portfolio up to date, everything all organised, all the information will be below. And it's important, and just remember to avoid overwhelm. If you're feeling overwhelmed by this, like the topic is too big, that it's too intimidating, we can just keep breaking it down until you feel like it's approachable and also something we're all doing. And I think we don't talk about it enough. We feel like we need to be discreet about selling our work, and we have to present this idea that we don't really care as artists if we sell our work. We're just doing it for the love of making. I'm like, no, I sell my work so I can live and eat and pay rent and food, and that's the practical side of it. I don't want to be a poor starving artist in an attic somewhere. I want to make a living at this and enjoy it and feel comfortable with it. And I'd like to open that dialogue as a conversation with you guys, because I feel like if you're watching this video, you're interested in it too. So I hope that's helpful. I feel like I've just waffled about galleries for a bit, but let's start the conversation. If there's anything you'd like me to go into more, I can write about that, or I can message you directly, or just do more videos breaking this down even more, so we can just keep talking about gallery relationships for artists, benefits, pros and cons, and where we could take it. And I'm actually thinking about approaching galleries myself now. I'm based in Suffolk and I'm near enough to London. Normally I sell my work just kind of independently, taking part in some group shows from open exhibitions when I see them that I find quite fun. But now I have like a baby, it might be quite nice to have something more regular. And it is nice not to have to be responsible for selling your work you alone. It's quite nice to get other people involved, because you can have more fun that way. So as I'm doing the journey as well, I'll keep you informed how I find progress, and I can let you know how it goes. Just because I'm doing it with you guys. So that's why we like Art Life. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that's been remotely helpful. I'm doing a residency this week, so I'm going to carry on painting now. But I hope to see you next week. And do remember to like and subscribe if you're interested in just me making more content like this of the life of an artist going about her day. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.